So if anyone's having trouble with exercise 4E, I've just picked a couple of random questions. Again, try to get the hints, but don't just listen and not think for yourself. That's defeating the whole purpose. You just want to get the nudges and then stop it and see that you can do most of it by yourself. Okay? So the key stuff here, if this was a test question or assignment, find the equation of the circle. So as soon as we see that, we're looking up or we're recalling that the equation of a circle is x minus a squared plus y take b squared equals the radius squared, and of course our centre is AB. Okay, so now when I now go, oh, that's my centre, well, now I can quickly go, and you should pause now and you can write the equation. Okay, hope you got that. And it passes through this point for -3. Now, if you wanted to, there's a few different ways that we can solve this. Okay, there's our centre. 0.43 is over here. 4 - 3, sorry. So we want to find the radius. One of the obvious ways is we could use the distance formula. Okay, what I prefer to do is, because this point is on the circle, it means that we can substitute it into our equation. Okay, that's x, that's y, which means when I substitute it in here, that will give me the r squared that I desire. Okay, so this becomes 4 - 2 squared plus -3 take 1 squared equals r squared. So what's that? 4 plus 16 equals r squared, which is 20. So therefore the equation is x minus 2 squared plus y take 1 squared equals 20. Done and dusted. Okay, so centre 2, 1, radius root 20. If you notice, like if you were to actually use the distance formula, this is what you'd end up getting, right? 4 - 2 all squared minus 3 take 1 all squared, and then you all square root it. That would give you the radius. There's no square root because it's r squared. So you end up with the same answer if you use distance, but I think you just do a little bit more work that way. Okay, hopefully you like that. And you got that correct. Question 10. You should go and do number 9. Give it a go. Once again, pause the video. With this one, find the equation of the circle with centre. So already we have this much, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared. Again, if this was a test or an assignment question, even if you don't know how to get the radius, do as much as you can, right? We want to give you marks, so put down as much as you can. Next thing, if you can't see, I'm a big fan of diagrams. So we've got our axes here. Here's 2, -3 is down here, and it touches the x-axis, okay? So the circle has to touch the x-axis. Now this is a very poorly drawn circle, sorry about that. Oh, that's not too bad. I recovered in the end, just had to get rid of that bit there. Anyway, 2 - 3, and you can see that your radius here, it's not 2, right? It's not that, it's here, 0 to -3, so the radius is actually 3 units. So it's now a simple matter of just saying that that is 3 squared, which is 9, okay? Not too much algebra, it's all about the picture. These are lessons that you learn on how to solve a problem that you might not see right at the beginning. Okay? So again, stop the video, go and try and do some of the other questions, draw diagrams. I've just picked some of these because I think maybe they were tricky. But again, before you listen to me, please stop and do as much as you can yourself. Okay, this time the center lies on the line. They haven't actually given us the center, but we do have 2 points that it passes through. So once again, the diagram is coming out for me because, well, I just need it. This is the line, y = 4. And what they're saying is that the center lies somewhere along there. Here's 2, here's 6, and somewhere along here is the center. It has to pass through. I'm thinking maybe it would look a little bit like this. Okay, and I don't know the whole center. I don't know the x value, but I do know the y value. The y value is going to be 4. It has to be, because it says it lies on that line. Okay, so again, let's put down what do we have. Well, I haven't got much of this bit here. It's just x minus a squared. But I do know this bit is y take 4 squared. And now we've got these 2 points that lie on here. So let's try to sub. Got 2, 0, and when I sub that in, I end up with 2 take a, so 2 minus a squared. Y is 0, 0 take 4 is minus 4 squared is 16. Don't have the radius. I mean, I guess one of the ways we could have done is looked at this and gone, it's equidistant from these 2 points, and done the whole distance formula thing. 6, 0. Sub that in, so we get 6 minus a squared. Once again, 0 in here, 0 take 4 is 16. That gives me r squared. Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong, but these are simultaneous equations that we can solve, and it's really good that these are all the same, because if I now subtract one equation from the other, okay, I end up with 2 minus a squared minus 6 take a squared. 16 take 16 is 0, and r squared take r squared is 0. So what I'm now left with, I'm going to put that on the other side. Oh, yeah, I will. Only because that gets rid of the minus. I mean, you don't really have to. And now we expand the brackets. So for those of you who are still unsure, not really happy about expanding those brackets, remember we're going to go 2 minus a squared is 2 take a times 2 take a, and you do the whole arrow thing. Okay, so we'll end up with 4 minus 4a squared plus a squared equals 36. Take 12a plus a squared, and we have the joys of those a squares cancelling. Let's now get our a's on one side. Minus 4 plus 12 is 8a. 36 take 4 is 32, and therefore a is 4. So I can put that back into our equation up here. I end up with x take 4 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals r squared, and hopefully by now you go, well, I should feel pretty confident to find the r value, because you can just substitute in either this point or this point. Okay, I'll leave that for you to do. You've got the answers to check with, but substitute that in. Remember, that's your x, that's your y. If this was a test question, to know that I'm correct, I would substitute both of those in, one after the other, and I should get the same value for r squared. Obviously, if I got 2 different radiuses, then that's a tip that I have done it wrong, and I'd go back and look for an error. Okay. So I'd like it if you could try and do this one by yourself without needing me. So give it a go. Stop that video. Pause it. So you've either come back now to check that you got the right answer, although hopefully you've checked with the back of the book and it was right. If you got stuck, let's have a look. What did we do? So now we've got the situation where we have, what's going on here? We've got passes through these points. So it's 0, 2, minus 4. Oh, 0, 2 is up here, silly me. 2, 0, and minus 4. So, it's a funky circle to draw. Again, not brilliant, but not too bad. Okay. It'd be really nice if the centre was there, but it's not. Sort of here in the middle, and we don't know what it is. is at all. So all we've got going for us at the moment is x take a squared plus y take b squared equals r squared. Now, I'm going to go for the whole substitute thing. 2 points are sticking out to me to substitute, and see if you know which ones. I've sort of pointed already to this one. I would use this, and what would be the other point that would be sensible? I'm going to go for this one. The reason being because my y's are both 0 here. And once again, I might be able to use the same technique I used before, where I can subtract one equation from the other. So maybe go ahead and see if you can do that without me. So we're going to substitute 2, 0 and then minus 4, 0. So stop the video and then come back and check. So hopefully you've got this, right? The x was 2, the y was 0, so 0 take b is minus b, and minus b squared is just b. And then we're left with the r squared. And so what I can do now is, like we did before, subtract these equations from one another. So I'm left with 2 minus a squared minus 4 take a squared. B squared take b squared is no b. And r squared take r squared is no r squared. So that's gone. And we can then do what we did before. So it's 2 minus a squared equals minus 4 take a squared, expand 4 minus 4a plus a squared equals 16 take 8a plus a squared. It's all becoming a little bit the same now. They cancel. What do we get? 4a. 16 take 4 is 12. So a is 3. Pop that back in. And you can see slowly but surely we're getting our information that we need. And I have made a little bit of a whoopsie there. That should be plus 8 when we expand. Negative times a negative gives me a positive. So that changes the narrative a little bit. So we end up with minus 12 equals 12a. So a equals minus 1. Sorry about that. So if we pop that back in, we're going to now end up with x plus 1 squared plus y take b squared equals r squared. Okay, and now go through your routine, try subbing in 0, 2, and then sub in 2, 0 and see what happens. You know, there might be a different way, a quicker way to solve that. But I think you end up with the right bit there. Okay, so see how you go. Okay, and just towards the end now, question 14, it's asking you to find the values for a and h and k just from looking at these graphs. I'm actually going to do c first, and then we'll go back and do b. So in order to do c, I'd like to remind you about our expressions here. Now, these are two different ways that we can express a rectangular hyperbola where we've got linear over a linear. Okay, if I times through by here, this could be looking like this. Now, it depends on how you're given the equation. We looked at this the other day in class, that we know our vertical asymptote occurs when the denominator equals 0. So here, we know that's going to be minus d on c, because you're solving cx plus d equals 0. Put it on some paper and rearrange if you can't do it. Also, by looking at lots of different graphs, we established that the horizontal asymptote would be the division of the coefficients of x, so a on c. So when it's in this form, we can see those really clearly. When it's written in this form, again, what makes the denominator equal to 0 is x equals h. And this bit here is our horizontal translation, so that's our horizontal asymptote, y equals k. So if we're given it in this form, using our process here, I can say pretty easily that my vertical asymptote is going to be x equals 3, and my horizontal asymptote is going to be y equals 2, because 2 take 2 gives me 0. To put it in this form, I hope you remember what we do is we put the denominator downstairs and we put it upstairs and we go, right, we want to make this numerator look like this. Now at the moment we're going to have to times it all by 3 to get this 3x. Now when I do that, 3 times x is 3x. Right, I'll just pop that little like that, is 3x. And 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. But I don't want 3x take 6, I want 3x plus 4. So that means, what would I have to add to this to make me have a plus 4? So wouldn't that have to be plus 10? Plus the 6, plus the 4. So what we now end up with, and going, why are we doing that? Well, we can now split that to be 3x take 2 over x take 2 plus 10 over x take 2. Now they cancel, and this allows me to now write this as 3 plus 10 over x take 2. It's now in this form. So we can say, well, there's my horizontal asymptote. Oh, and I stuffed that up. Silly me. I switched those around the wrong way. Sorry about that. That was x equals 2, y equals 3. That's what happens when you video. So there's my horizontal asymptote of y equals 3 and vertical x equals 2. Sorry if that was confusing you. I'm not going to redo that video. Okay. So, as I said, I would not rearrange to get it in this form. When I had this, I could straight away go, right, vertical asymptote makes the denominator equal to 0, so x is 2, and divide my coefficients, it gives me the horizontal. Of course, if the question asks you to do that, then you have to rearrange, and that's how we do it. Okay. Now, a little bit of memory back for this one. Okay, we haven't done a lot of the square roots, but we did look at how the shift goes along. So what I can say here is this bit here gives me the horizontal shifting from left to right. Translation. And this one gives me my vertical. Okay, so what I can say here is from the origin, this has actually gone over to the right by 1. So that means it's going to be root x plus 1. Oops. Take 1. Okay, when it moves to the right by 1, it's a minus 1. And it has then moved down by 2, so it's going to be take 2. And we don't know the a value. How do you think we're going to work that out? Yep, it's that good old-fashioned. We've got our point here, so we will substitute 2, 1 in there, so x and y, sub it in, and that will give me my values. Okay? And similarly, down here, I should have led on with that, what we were doing before. Because I know that my vertical asymptote is 2, that means the denominator must be x take 2. Okay, and we've got our horizontal asymptote of 2, so that's got to be plus 2. We pop the a there, and we will use this point to now sub in and solve for our a value. Okay, so substitute in, we get 3 equals a over x take over 3 take 2, sorry, because our x is 3, plus 2, and now we can just carry on and solve for a. So get rid of the plus 2, take 2, which is 1. That's a over 1, so a is 1. Okay, hopefully that helped. Good luck.